Good morning, Tunisian Crochet Grafghan Boutique. This morning we are going to be talking about gauge swatches. This is very important because you need to figure out how big an end product will be. So I think it's important to work up a gauge swatch because different yarns work up different gauges and different hook sizes work up different gauges. If I'm doing a Grafghan that is squared by number, for example 200 by 200, if I use a J hook, I can pretty much get a squared stitch because my stitches wide and stitches high is 4 inches, or 4 stitches wide to an inch and 4 stitches high to an inch. But if I'm doing a blanket that I want longer, then I like to use a K hook, because if I do a blanket that is 200 stitches wide by 200 stitches tall, I still get the 4 stitches wide, but my gauge is 3 stitches high, which would make my blanket longer for my customer. This is what you're going to make is your swatch, and you're going to take whatever hook and whatever yarn you like. You're going to crochet the 10 stitches wide and 10 rows tall. Then when you're done, you're going to measure your swatch. I have 2.5 inches wide for 10 stitches. And if you, let me move this over a little bit. If you look in here, you can see I have 1, 2, 3, 4 stitches in that inch space. If the 5th stitch is just outside at the 1/8 of an inch, so I tend to just drop that because you're looking for a rough measurement of what you're going to have finished. And as far as tall, I also have 2.5 inches from the top of my project to the bottom. And let me move this over a little bit. Inside the 1 inch mark, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, and a little bit more of a stitch. So basically it's the 4 by 4 for the J hook. Now if you're working on something that's about 80 by 80 stitches and you get a gauge that's comparable to mine, you will end up with a 20-inch pillow. If you're working on something that's about 200 by 200, then you're going to end up with something that is about 45 inches square. And this will help you in any of your patterns, because it's easier to finish a gauge swatch and figure out exactly how big your project's going to be than to start making it and realize that you've used a corner to corner pattern and this blanket is too small, or you've used something that has made your pattern huge and you've wasted time and yarn and you have to frog it or just deal with it. So I think a gauge swatch in the beginning of a project is extremely important. And after time, if working with a few yarns, I found that taking it and putting it on an index card, for example, my Karen Simply Soft, I get the 4 stitches to an inch and 4 rows to an inch with a J hook. And I've wrote that down over time, and I can go back into my files and just look over those, and then I don't have to do a gauge swatch as much anymore. So if you have any questions, please feel free to ask under the video or in the group. That's what we're here for. That's what I love to do, is teach and answer questions. And since Tunisian is picking up, because so many people want to learn it now, and the people that did it in the past and used it as called the Afghan stitch, they're discovering that there's new ways that people have discovered to do things that make things easier. So it's trending again, actually. And I look forward to any questions, comments that you may have. Have a great day.